So how do you win the Democratic primary at the Great Lakes State?
By talking to voters like this.
These union workers that have been working countless hours under the Trump administration, I'd like you to explain how you plan to not only keep us working, but how you intend on getting the union vote when there's a large portion of the union workers that are gun enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish your Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
Now, shush. Shush. I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. And from the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
So when you were in Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns,
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that.
It's a viral video.
It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out that have been simply a lie.
Your voice, you said that you're taking the guns.
Well, he just clarified it.
Wait. Take your AR-14s and what?
Okay, this is not okay.
Hold on. All right. Hey, let's
Don't tell me
the
this,
same
pal. I
thing.
want to go
There's a
outside.
lot of guys.
You're
wanted.
man.
I'm not worried. Hold on. Give me a break, man. Don't be such a
You're
horse
pushing up
guy.
on me.
And there's a lot of
Hey.
speak to Joe.
Look, here's the deal.
Go.
Here's the deal. Are you able to own a machine gun? I said, are you able to own one? I'm the boss.
Machine guns are illegal.
That's right. So AR-15.
How about machine guns?
No, it's not.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, do you need 100 rounds? Do you need 100 rounds?
Deaths in America from handguns that are what you call assault rifles. Why are you advocating for assault rifles when people are dying by handguns?
How to win elections in Michigan.
Biden style. Welcome to a weekly broadcast of MM Talk. We're your host, Eddie Marmolejo.
And Jaime Moreno.
Have you been to Costco, Walmart, or Target lately? The fear of the coronavirus has driven thousands of people to visit these stores. And they fear that if they run out of this household commodity, they will not be able to combat the coronavirus. And that commodity is...
Toilet paper.
Apparently, this is how you fight a worldwide viral disease. By buying toilet paper. But before we get into all that, we are going to talk about the second Super Tuesday. 6 states were more into play. And once again, Bernie Sanders lost big time. Shocker. And then after that, we're just going to talk about the effects, of course, of the coronavirus. In last week's episode, we talked about what were the symptoms of the coronavirus. Jaime went into great detail of that. And if you haven't tuned into that episode, please go to the link in our bio and just learn about the coronavirus. But in this episode, we're going to talk about what effects it's now having in the global market. But before we go into those
Before we
topics,
start this podcast, please remember to subscribe. Subscribe to our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and our videos on YouTube so you can be up to date to the latest news and postings on what's going on in the world. Right? We also want to be up to date with all the analysis that we have. Please share with your friends and family members and known people if you feel this information will be useful for them as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to MM Talk. Before we begin the topic, coronavirus part 2, right? So just to give you guys an update from last week, we currently have about 1,762 cases of coronaviruses within the United States. Out of those 1,700, just for the sake of time, 1,700 U.S. have confirmed with coronavirus. Only 41 people have died from it so far. However, we've seen a success rate of 31 people actually recovering from the coronavirus within the United States. Obviously, around the world, this global pandemic, only 134,000 people have been confirmed with coronavirus. 4,900 people have died from it, and 69,000 people have been able to recover from coronavirus or have been healed, or their body were able to just kill it off, right? So This global pandemic has so far reached 134,000 people. It is a nightmare compared to the swine flu, which had 60 million people within the United States contracted with the swine flu. And of those 60 million, a couple of thousands of people have died because of it. But you know, the scare and the fear and the doomsday prep is far worse now than when it was.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just look at the YouTube videos of people flocking to Costco's. I myself the other day went to Walmart.
Toilet paper.
I wasn't looking for toilet paper. I had plenty of that. But guys, the shelves were empty. There was no toilet paper. Maybe a couple of paper towels that was available. But
Probably a cheap kind too.
it was the Walmart brand, if I'm not mistaken. But then
Made in China.
But then I also went to the cleaning supplies, household cleaning supply sections. No bleach, no cloro. And there was a couple of hand sanitizer wipes, but I couldn't even find hand sanitizer gel. That was gone as well.
Well, I understand the hand sanitizer, right? I get the concept of that. Why people are buying that in bulk, right?
Yeah.
But the toilet paper?
Yeah, and this, I had to look it up. It was bothering me. Why are people flocking to get toilet paper? I mean, how does 2-ply versus 3-ply argument apply to fight the coronavirus respiratory disease? And a lot of it's impulse buy. If you look at articles, people are saying, "Well, I'm just doing it because other people are doing it." Well, I just got to be prepared. I'm like, okay, it doesn't give you diarrhea. It's a respiratory illness. What does toilet paper have to do with it? I mean, I understand that if you were emptying pallets of Kleenex, I get that. Mm-hmm. What does 2-ply toilet paper, have to do with that? I don't understand.
I don't know. That's interesting because it's like, it's a joke, right? But really, like,
no, it's not a joke anymore. That's becoming ridiculous because it's like all
People
these
have their
videos,
cars.
and then I'm seeing it live. I'm going to stores. I'm like, what is going on? And my sister, she went to I went to Walmart. She went to a Costco. Same story. They said they were out of toilet paper. I mean, water I guess water I understand, but toilet paper. My thing is, the bothers me is toilet paper. What does toilet paper have to do with fighting a respiratory virus? That's like going somewhere with a bunch of radiation and you're wearing a chemical suit. Okay, chemical suit does not protect you from radiation. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Okay, you just don't do that. This is that kind of effect. This won't help you from. Okay, if the CDC is saying another what is called health experts are saying that even putting a mask won't help you with the coronavirus, what do you think 2-ply toilet paper is going to do? I don't understand.
yeah. Anyway, it's just fear mongering. I think that's what it is. And like we said, we understand the whole concept of the hand sanitizer, soap, shampoos. That's still in stock. I mean, there's literally posts everywhere telling people how to wash your hands. Okay, I don't know what's worse. The fear of the pandemic or people actually learning how to wash their hands in 2020? I mean, don't we learn that when you're growing up? Don't you learn how to wash your hands? No. Right? So that means there's a lot of cochinos out there, all you nasties, who probably don't even wash their hands. And that's why there's a whole public service announcement and campaign telling people how to properly wash their hands. But, it's embarrassing. Yeah, but even other than that, I mean, panic that's going on, Eddie. Yeah. What has the coronavirus? I mean, literally 134,000 worldwide, okay? Mm-hmm. And a planet of like 8 billion people, all right? Roughly. Mm-hmm. 134,000 people. Far less than the epidemic of the swine flu. If you guys remember that. If not, you can look it up. Why such a fear? I mean, Disneyland closed.
Yeah.
Disneyland didn't even close. Even when they had the measles outbreak, and they were the epicenter of it. And they didn't even close the doors. They're like, just wipe down the counters. We're still good. We're still operational. I mean, and like you told me earlier, NBA, the hockey leagues, March Madness has been canceled for temporarily.
No, it's canceled.
Oh, it's canceled. There you go. Colleges have ended classes.
Coachella, Stagecoach canceled. A lot of events where over 200 people or more are starting to suggest that they cancel due to prevent possible contamination.
Spread of the virus.
Spread of the virus. The debate that's supposed to happen between Senator Sanders and Vice President Biden has moved to a CNN broadcasting room and will not be open to the public now over the fears of the swine flu. Wow. The
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. I'm talking about real viruses.
I
here.
mean, really? I mean, no people in the audience? I mean, what big difference? I mean, the rallies are... The Democratic rallies suck compared to the Trump ones if you look at the videos. But, I mean, I guess for, protection. Yeah,
Protection, yeah. They're gonna... They're both... I was listening to Fox News, and they were saying that, yeah, just both parties agree that they're gonna have their debate in the broadcasting room, not open to the public, to reduce the possibility of being
and we mentioned the swine flu. So if you guys remember the swine flu, it's a virus, right? That's literally spreads just like coronavirus. Touching, coughing, touching people's hands, touching handlebars and anything in the public where people have the virus or wiped their snot and wiped it on something, right? Pretty much spreads the same way as the coronavirus, right? The symptoms are different. Swine flu has different symptoms than coronavirus, but the way it spreads is by large groups, person-to-person contact, the same way as coronavirus. And what we notice is that the swine flu pandemic wasn't as big of a fear thing as it is now with the coronavirus, right? So how does that affect the markets, Eddie?
It's getting bad. Today, I was talking to Jaime, and numbers got to bare minimums. These are numbers that haven't been seen since 1987, according to the Wall Street Journal and other media sources, that the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ have reached bear market levels. Okay, that's bad. I was talking to Jaime. I was looking at Delta Airline, American Airline stock numbers, Caribbean Cruise Line stock numbers. They were all averaging around $14.80 a share.
It's time to buy some stocks.
I am not about profiteering during a disease, but there's time in there. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was that bad. A couple days ago, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, the Dow plunged to 2,000 points. They halted trading in Wall Street for 15 minutes. Okay? Because of the fear of what's going on. And that's bad, folks, because last week I even mentioned, you need to stop this fear mongering because you're going to start affecting the markets. You're going to start affecting just people able to go to work. Jobs will be lost. Take, for example, what the federal government had to do today. It had to inject about $1.5 trillion into the market just to keep it afloat. Just to keep the stock market afloat. And that still wasn't enough because there's still a lot of uncertainty in the markets. We haven't reached catastrophic levels yet, but if you keep this up and if the media keeps amplifying this virus and I understand the World Health Organization put this at a world pandemic level because it's been in several countries, but the death tolls and all that and the infected tolls, according to the available data, they don't even compare to swine flu. I'm not too sure they even compare to the Ebola outbreak that happened a couple, almost 10 years ago now. Mm-hmm. H1N1 was another one that a lot of people are talking about.
That's swine flu.
This is the swine flu?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the swine flu? Okay, sorry. The swine flu, Ebola outbreak, Zika was another one.
Oh, Zika, I remember Zika.
Zika was another one. And those things, Zika, I think, threatened the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
In Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because of that, as Zika was being spread, or if I can recall, it was a disease spread by...
bugs?
Yeah, by the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes. Spread by mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. And during the World Cup in Brazil, it was really humid at the time, which is also, somewhere where mosquitoes tend to procreate.
So what I'm trying to say is, let's not neglect the seriousness of the coronavirus, but this media's got to stop, man. Look, and it's not just the media anymore. It's just your standard politicians and how they want to twist this around and try to make it issues that are not. For example, you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right, in her Instagram saying that it's racist for people now to go to Chinese restaurants. Did she not read the article in the New York Times where it's saying that multiple restaurants are now suffering because of coronavirus outbreaks? And guess what they're saying? They're canceling reservations because they fear that, this was in the New York Times, the article's in the New York Times, that they fear that by going to places with a large public venues that they might contract the virus themselves. They don't want to do it. It's not just Chinese restaurants, Cortez. It's a bunch of restaurants. These are high-end restaurants. If you look at the article, I'll put the link in the video so you guys can read it. But these are like 5-star level restaurants, right? Restaurants that are on like magazines, reviewedly high, right? I'm talking $200 steaks right here. Those restaurants are now suffering because of the way the markets are. Of course, President Trump's speech, right? He issued the travel ban on flights from Europe, that starts on Friday, and a lot of people also came after him on that because of the way he didn't clarify things. Like, for example, that U.S. citizens could come back if they were in Europe after they go through a screening process. He didn't clarify that cargo ships and cargo flights can also come into the United States. He didn't clarify that. All right, I'm like, okay, but do you want the man to dig into every single little thing in his speech? I mean, he's just trying to tell the people that we're on top of, we're handling the situation. This is what we're gonna do. Why does Don Lemon have to go on this type of tirade with Governor Kasich of Ohio? Right, Ohio. Okay.
To say, if the president came out to calm people's fears, he didn't do a good job of it because they had to come back and clarify it several times. And this has been going on long enough for them to get it straight. We need straight, accurate information from this president and this administration, and we're not getting it. And I don't understand why you are tiptoeing around it. He came out, gave an address that usually that happens very rarely, and he doesn't get it right.
I'm going to tell you, first of all, he read it. And somebody that wrote this, look, I don't want to get into that.
Why not? That's why you're here to talk about the president's address.
Can I finish now?
No, you can't, John, because we're here to talk about the president's. Wait, we're here. I don't want you to go on and deflect and talk about something else because we're here to.
What he's trying to say is we don't want you to come out and defend the president's speech. We want you to come on the air and insult it. But okay, Governor.
Talk about the president's address, and you said that someone else wrote it. He's the president. Even if someone else wrote it, it should be right.
I know he did, and he has to be Don. He put this thing out because there was some confusion out there. Okay.
Now there's more confusion, John.
And what I'm trying to say to you, Don, we got to move down the road. Looking back doesn't get things fixed.
We're not looking back. The president's address was tonight. That is the newest information with this. Is the president's address.
I think it was fine. That's what I think.
You think inaccurate information that you have to...
Oh, for Christ's
sake. Okay, so Don Lemon is pissed off because he doesn't like that the president addressed the nation on the coronavirus, on what he's going to do, his administration is going to do to solve it. He proposed great solutions. One of them is free checkups of coronavirus. He literally said there's going to be free checkups for coronavirus.
The premiums are going to,
Okay? The premiums are going to go down. Co-pays, cancel co-pays temporarily for people who get checkups. And then he says he's going to remove some payroll taxes, right? Because some people are going to probably not go to work or probably won't be able to make it to work. So, why burden them with less? Why have people who aren't going to go to work or won't be able to go to work because of the fear, and we're going to take away that tax? So let's put more money into people's pocket because you're going to need it in the long run, right? And then he's offering a solution to let's find a vaccine. It's going to be hard, but it's a challenge. We're going to put billions of dollars, literally billions of dollars, okay, to find a cure or a vaccine for the coronavirus. And Don Lemon is mad because he just didn't like that he addressed it. I mean, he didn't really say what was wrong with the speech.
Yeah.
He didn't mention it.
He's mad because Governor Kasich did not trash the speech. And Don Lemon should know better. Look, you have Dr. Fauci who went before Congress and said, look, the president did the right thing from creating these travel bans. Okay? These travel bans are the right course of action because most of the cases in the United States happen because of what? Travel. The cases that you're seeing in the United States happen from persons that travel to infected areas, and it's right for the president to do the travel restrictions. Now, was the speech perfect? No, because there were some people that were still like Don Lemon, to some degree correctly pointed out, probably needed more clarification. Like people were asking, are you going to have enough vaccines? Are you going to have enough of this? Are you going to have enough of that? The president, in that speech, right, did what he could just to tell the people what was going on at the moment. They're working on it. Here's some of the steps that we're doing towards to work on it. It's not, you can't, it's like, how do I put this? You know when you're on you have a sales receipt and you're like, well, what's your policy on this? You know what would happen if you lay all that out? I mean, how many times, okay, a president or a politician proposes a plan. Bernie Sanders cannot even give you the numbers what's it going to cost him for any of his bills, but you don't want clarification on that. My goodness!
But you don't get mad at the fact that he can't answer the question. You don't get mad
because
because he's the Democrat.
Yeah, you don't get mad because Joe Biden got arrested for Nelson Mandela, but stuff like that.
Where Joe Biden has literally lied about stuff, and Don Lemon is not mad at Joe Biden for lying.
Yeah, but the thing is, the president provided the speech that says, here's the problem, here's the steps we're gonna take, and we hope that this solves the problem, and this is my course of action towards it.
So I think what's going on now is that even though they want to deny, they want the mainstream media and Democrat leadership and influencers are trying to say that now the president or the Republican Party is trying to politicize the discussion on coronavirus, right? But yet, what we're seeing from the left is the exact thing they're trying or they're saying that the president is doing. They're saying that the president is trying to politicize it when they themselves are politicizing it. We just heard Don Lemon get mad because John Kasich. Okay, the governor. I know I cut off. The governor of California was asked, "How is the Trump administration handling the coronavirus? How is the cooperation between the state of California and the federal government?" What did the leader of the resistance, governor of California, say? Great job. The president has responded in a timely manner. They have fulfilled what they said they were going to do. They have followed up with all their promises. We have been working fine. The lieutenant governor of California, okay? The other resistance, right, lady in California, even she said, based on the people who are in the government who are handling this issue, are speaking well of how quickly the federal government is responding, how quickly they're cooperating with our staff, with our health organizations and our health bureaucracies. They're doing a great job. They're following through. We have no complaints. They're actually doing a great job. Okay? You're talking about the two leaders, the Democratic leaders in California, who hate Trump at every corner, right? Speak highly of the response of the federal government with the coronavirus, right? Yet Don Lemon, right? And this is one example, but if you look at the rest of the mainstream media, like Eddie said, they're just mad because it's just the president talking about it. It's not specifically answering every single damn question down the line, but at least he's addressing it. He's trying to bring unity and a scare pandemic that's going on right now.
And if Don Lemon was talking about politicization and all that, right? Okay. What did Jim Acosta say? Oh God, Jim Acosta, right? Talking to Chris, don't call me Fredo, right? This is what happened after the year. Okay, just listen.
The president to announce a travel ban from Europe for 30 days, starting at Friday at midnight. That is stunning. That is going to cause major disruptions to the travel industry, and it is going to cause all kinds of problems that we haven't seen since the Trump administration tried its travel ban very early on in the administration. We saw people.
Pause it.
Yeah, he's referring to the Muslim travel ban that once again were same countries that were designated terrorist havens, but the Obama administration. But hey, we're not politicizing, but let's go on.
People waiting at the airport and so on, wondering if loved ones are going to get back from Europe. So it is going to be interesting to find out what the details are for administration officials in terms of how they're going to implement that. The other thing, Chris, that I think we should point out, at one point during this...
So Jim Acosta's confused on how the administration is going to go ahead and move forward with this travel ban from Europe, right? The president clearly said American citizens will be able to come back to the United States. Every immigrant who has a green card, permanent residency card, will be able to come back to the United States with proper
Screening.
Mm-hmm. Okay? He literally said that in his speech. Yet Jim Acosta is confused about how they're going to go about it. Talk about politicization.
Address, the president referred to the coronavirus as a, quote, foreign virus. That I think was interesting because as I was talking to sources earlier this evening, one of the points that the president wanted to make tonight, wanted to get across to Americans, is that this virus did not start here, but that they're dealing with it. Now, why the president would go as far as to describe it as a foreign virus, that is something we'll also be asking questions about, but it should be pointed out.
What? Eddie, what? What did this Jim Acosta say? What the hell? Where did this coronavirus come from, Eddie?
Chinatown? China.
It literally came from China. It is literally a foreign virus.
Because it comes from a foreign country.
And Jim Acosta is mad because the president went as far as calling it a foreign virus.
Yeah.
He literally answered his own damn question. Like, he literally said, Hey,
Fredo, we don't understand why the president designated it as a foreign virus. We don't understand.
He's saying that it didn't. He's trying to say that it didn't start in the United States because it didn't start in the United States.
Does anybody know where Wuhan, America is?
I do not know where Wuhan, America is. Oh wait, it doesn't exist. Wuhan exists only in
China,
and it's a foreign
country.
Thank you. I mean, I swear, these guys who claim to be the intellectuals, the smart, truthful people who are giving light to truth in America, enlightened Americans, are making dumb statements like this, and Americans are eating it.
It gets better.
That Stephen Miller, who is an immigration hardliner who advises the president, is one of his top domestic policy advisors and speechwriters, was a driving force in writing this speech. And I think it's going to it's going to come across to a lot of Americans as smacking of xenophobia, to use that kind of term in this speech, Chris.
Well, look, sometimes we can answer the questions. And the answer is he's doing it to put blame somewhere else. We've seen over the last few days.
Oh, my God. Okay, viewers, you really have to. You really, really, really have to.
So Chris, don't call me Fredo.
I'm done, Eddie. I'm done with this country.
Chris,
I'm done with the media.
Chris, don't call me Fredo. Just said that the reason why President Trump designated this as a foreign virus is because he wants to blame somebody else.
Well, yeah.
You have to blame.
You have to blame someone else. It came from someone else. It's like if you were to catch HIV, right, or any type of AIDS, you're not gonna blame yourself for it. You're gonna blame the person who gave you the HIV, right? You can be like, dude, I got this from you, dude.
This is so bad. So you go from Don Lemon throwing a tirade because Kasich wouldn't go with his view of the speech to Fredo and Acosta, right, saying that the reason why President Trump is designating this as a foreign virus because Stephen Miller, who is a hardliner on immigration, will spread xenophobia, and that's the way he can blame somebody else for the problem facing America today regarding the coronavirus.
I'm pretty sure us viewers here in MM Talk are pretty smart and common sense about this. I mean, we just finished saying the virus came from China. By calling it a foreign virus, it is a foreign virus. It did come from somewhere else. It did not originate in the United States. So this is our mainstream media. This is the news that claims to be telling you the truth. But in reality, we just showed you the evidence of how misinformed a lot of Americans are. And that's why there's a serious fear of this coronavirus that's only affecting 134,000 people around the world.
But until that virus is over, I will have my handy dandy Clorox bottle right here, and I will sanitize my counters, okay?
And we will have
my
toilet paper.
handy-dandy toilet paper. All right, let's wrap this up with coronavirus, because after Chris Don't Call Me Fredo and Jim Acosta, I just want to turn this off.
All right, let's move on, because it's just crazy. This coronavirus is just beyond hysteria. Now, let's go on to what happened Tuesday, Eddie. Tuesday.
So
The moment Sanders was supposed to get a comeback, was supposed to win Michigan like he did in 2016, he was ready for it. He went out there knocking on doors. They did everything they could to get the Michigan vote, and they failed.
again.
What's going on with Sanders, Eddie?
So, it's basically a continuation from Super Tuesday 1. Sanders banked on the young voter turnout. That's his base. That base, once again, did not show up. But what did show up? The black vote, right? And the elder vote. I mean, the more moderate vote. Let's just say that, okay? That's what happened. So 6 states were in play. Michigan, Idaho. Hold on, let me see. Michigan, Idaho, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and I named 5. I need
Michigan,
more.
you said, no?
No, Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, Idaho, North Dakota, Washington.
Washington.
Washington. Okay, so that's what what happened. So Biden wins. He won Idaho.
He won Missouri,
Mississippi,
Idaho, Michigan.
And Michigan. Washington is still not been called yet, and North Dakota went to Sanders.
So pretty much of the 6 states that voted this past Tuesday, Joe Biden won 4 of those states. Bernie Sanders won 1 of those states, and Washington, it's still too close to call. In other words, more states went for Biden, voted for Biden than they did for Sanders.
Yeah, and so when we talk here, never talk is the Latino vote. Okay, what happened in Michigan? 3% of the Latino vote showed up, and that 3% was mostly young voters. Not enough to combat the 18% of the black vote that went statewide for Biden. Okay, yeah, 3% showed up, and Sanders won 53% of that vote, but not enough to combat the 18% statewide black vote. So what does that tell me? That there's still a lot of moderates in the Latino community, or that the young vote showed out. And if you look at the articles, it's mostly that the young vote did not show out again. So Representative Ocasio-Cortez was on Fox, and they asked what happened to the young vote. Oh, voter suppression! It's voter suppression. I mean, people are waiting 7 hours for vote. Okay, I'm gonna say
in a Democratic primary.
In a Democratic primary, so she's blaming her own people for voter suppression. I just told you that 3%, for example, 3% of Latinos showed up.
3%. Is 3% gonna make a big difference? No.
Now when it's 3 versus 18. But if you go back to our conversations last week, what did I say? Joe Biden did not bank on one electorate alone. He got the moderate vote, he got the black vote, and he's getting the moderate Latino vote. That's the formula you're going to need to win the Democratic nomination.
And we also mentioned that the biggest win for any Democratic nomination is the African American vote or the black vote, right?
Yeah.
So no Democrat can win a nomination without the black vote.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't believe us, just ask Booker and Harris, who are both black, and they didn't even get enough votes from black people.
They didn't even get delegates.
Get them far enough as Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say is that Latino vote is important. Remember, we're still looking at the Latino vote. We're tracking it down for 2020 because everyone's talking about Latino vote. all the Spanish media and all the Spanish news broadcasters are talking about the Latino vote and how Latinos are voting for Bernie Sanders.
Right.
But what they are not mentioning is the overall total amount. Yes, of the 3% of all Michigans, of all Latinos in Michigan, 3% of all Latinos in Michigan, okay? Of the entire state of Michigan came out to vote. 53% of them voted for Sanders, right? That still doesn't give Sanders a win in Michigan with 3% of the entire Latino vote. Does that make sense? So it's, like I said, it's not big enough. So the Spanish broadcasters talk about, oh, Latinos are voting for Sanders and they're supporting Sanders. But they're misinforming the community. Yeah. They're misinforming the community because they're not telling them, yes, a large percentage voted for Sanders, but the total voting block came out in small numbers.
And there's one more thing that Jaime made a great point in this last episode as well, that the Latino vote essentially is concentrated, and just the Democrat vote, it's concentrating on one thing and one thing alone: who can beat Trump. It's not about ideology. Jaime made this good analysis where if it's ideology, it will swing to Sanders. If it's political strategy, it's swinging to Biden and getting rid of Trump, which is what the Democratic Party's been trying to do now for, 4 years. 4 years, and they can't do it successfully, right? And they tried impeachment, they tried Mueller investigation, they tried this. So now in the general election, you have the choice between the old communist or the guy who doesn't know what an AR-14 is. First of all, it doesn't exist, but that's my point. And a lot of people feel that the guy who got arrested by visiting Nelson Mandela and wants to take away your AR-14s is a more viable candidate than the old commie who once again proved that socialist ideas do not work. That is where we are in the Democratic primary elections, people.
And also good to mention that, like we said last week, I mean, they're still talking about misogyny and how Americans don't want women in the party. This is the Democratic primary. Only Democrats are voting for these people. It's not even a general election. No Republicans are voting. Some independents who decide to switch Democrat just to vote, they count, but a lot of them aren't doing it. A lot of the independents aren't voting in the Democratic primaries. The main concern is Democratic voters. So when you hear the news media talk about racism and why minorities couldn't make it or why women couldn't make it, and if you listen to or hear snippets of Elizabeth Warren's...
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, Rachel Maddow.
Clinton-like, blame everyone but my bad campaigning strategy, right? Blame everyone because I'm a woman, but, I had a bad campaign. It's like, wait. This entire time, Democrats, registered Democrats, are selecting who's going to be the nominee for their party in November. So, who's the misogynistic? The entire country or the Democratic Party?
And it's funny you brought that up, and I want to bring this in because the Rachel Maddow, Elizabeth Warren interview, Rachel Maddow literally says, what a great way to start Women's History Month, something like that.
Yes.
And
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at Women's History Month, I'm just laughing at the way Maddows.
And by eliminating the last woman candidate out of the Democratic race, right? Is this the final blow to women? Is Rachel Maddow suffering from dementia or something? Because who was the nominee in 2016 for the Democratic Party?
Oh yeah, Hillary Clinton.
Who was the runner-up? Who was the runner-up in 2008?
Hillary Clinton.
Does Michelle Bachmann, didn't she run for president? Carly Fiorina, didn't she run for president?
That's right.
All these women have run for president.
More women ran for president on the Republican ticket than the Democratic ticket.
And it's not even that. But what's the one common denominator that doesn't get them over the hump? I don't know. Bad campaigns.
That's your answer.
If the argument of Rachel Maddow is that men don't allow women to run for office, that's not the point, because if that were the case, there wouldn't be no women in Congress.
At all.
At all.
Pelosi wouldn't even be the speaker.
Pelosi wouldn't be Speaker of the House. I mean, Condoleezza Rice would never been Secretary of State, even though it's an appointment, but it's a political appointment, right? That had to be appointed by a man. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't even have Supreme Court justices. I mean, I'm pretty sure politics does tend to play, right, into the selection of a Supreme Court justice. So can you give me a break? Look, you run strong campaigns, get to the finish line, and a woman will become president. Okay, what did I tell you before? What happened to Kamala Harris? Racism, sexism, lost the campaign. Okay, Amy Klobuchar, has some sanity in her, even though she's pro-choice and all that. But she understood politics, right? She understood the game. She just didn't get traction. Campaign ended. Elizabeth Warren, you shot yourself in the foot by going after Bloomberg instead of attacking the issues. Your campaign went down the toilet. And then we have Tulsi Gabbard, who only has 2 delegates.
She's still in the race.
She's still in the race. Like, y'all forget about Tulsi Gabbard?
Hello.
She doesn't have any leverage, political leverage, with 2 delegates. I still don't understand why she's in the race, right?
But she's still in the race.
But taking your argument, you still have a woman running for president in your party. So can we drop the act like women can't run for office, can't achieve that point? Have women that have strong campaigns and they will win, just as Margaret Thatcher, right? Who won in England? Okay, there's women. Ask, I don't know, Angela Merkel. How does she do it? I don't know, coalition or something. How does she do it?
Exactly.
Run strong campaigns, and I can assure you that America will elect a woman president. But if you go on there talking about, men don't want me. Come on, man.
And that's the Democratic Party. Blame racial identities, blame sexism, blame white privilege, blame millionaires and billionaires to all their problems. And they don't face the fact that they have terrible campaigns, and because they have terrible campaigns, they're not able to win. And voters aren't dumb. Voters tend to see what's going on. You know, just more people need to go out and vote. And voters are pretty much tired of the whole racial politics, the sex and politics, the constant, I blame everyone but myself for running a bad campaign.
They're tired of the victim candidate.
There you go, the victim candidate. Yes.
They're tired of the victocrat. They want... Okay, they want the candidate says, look, I acknowledge there's systemic racism. I acknowledge that we need a study on reparations. Here's how I'm going to do it. That candidate is more viable than, look at me, I'm black, and I can't run for office, even though we already had a black president.
Or women can't make it to the presidency because I lost the primaries, but Hillary Clinton was the contender. Okay, she lost the electoral college because she didn't care about the people in the Rust Belt, which is the states where all the industries used to be at. She didn't care about it. They want to change a bunch of... It's just... The Democrats are blaming everything else but
their
themselves.
Campaigns. Yeah, their campaigns. That's all it is.
And with that, I guess we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in for MM Talk. We appreciate your support. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Remember, we are your hosts, Jaime Moreno
and Eddie Marmolejo.